Hi, this is Sue Jackson of the Book by Book blog, and today I'm here with the end of the year book tag. I saw this recently on Melinda's channel at A Web of Stories, and I have to admit, when I saw her post this last month, I thought, end of the year, it's way too early for the end of the year. But then she explained in her video that it is about what you're going to read for the rest of the year. So I decided, I did do this tag last year, but not until way at the end of the year. So I decided to follow Melinda's lead and do it a little earlier this year. I had to do a little digging, but I think that this tag was originated by Ariel Bissett 6 years ago. So I will link to her original tag down below, as well as to Melinda's channel. So question number 1. Are there any books you started this year that you need to finish before the end of the year? No, I don't read that way. If I start a book, I read it all the way to the end. I've explained before on my channel, I'm a monogamous reader. I only read one book at a time in print and listen to one on audio. So, I finish each book that I'm reading. So I don't have any unfinished books hanging around. Question 2, do you have an autumnal book to transition? Every year I do the R.I.P challenge. That's Readers Imbibing Peril. A challenge that started in the blogging world. I think it's mostly focused on Instagram now, but, and even though I'm not on Instagram, I still love this challenge every fall because it is simply to read darker stuff in September and October. So mysteries, thrillers, suspense, dystopian, ghost stories, dark fantasy, whatever you like. So I do that every fall, and that is my big transition from summer into fall. So we're 3/4 of the way through that now, and I've been reading all kinds of wonderful mysteries and thrillers and dystopian novels, and I'm looking forward to getting through as much of my stack as I can, my giant pile of possibilities, before the end of October. I will link down below to my R.I.P challenge video so that you can take a look at the many options that I have. And I also like to do nonfiction November. So next month I will be reading all nonfiction. I may have to insert a novel for my book group, but other than that, it'll be all nonfiction. So that is my autumn transition from summer to winter. Question 3, what are 3 books or series you want to read before the end of the year? Okay, so I cheated a little bit here. There are so many books I want to read. I've got 5 here, but I'll go through them quickly. For the rest of the R.I.P challenge, like I said, I've got a huge stack, a big pile of possibilities, but I absolutely must read When She Woke by Hilary Jordan because it has been on my shelf for so long. If that name sounds familiar, it's because she is the author of Mudbound, a wonderful historical novel, and this is entirely different. It is dystopian, but it's been on my shelf for too long. I know I love the author, and I've heard good things about this book. So this is a must-read by the end of October. I also, surprise, surprise, have a big stack for nonfiction November. I haven't pulled them all off my shelf yet, but there are plenty to choose from. But I definitely want to get We Are Never Meeting in Real Life by Samantha Irby. I had asked for any Samantha Irby book for my birthday this summer because I've heard she is a wonderful essayist who writes emotionally complex, in-depth, but very funny essays. And so this is the one that my husband gave me. So this is a must-read for nonfiction November. And then toward the end of the year, I've got more books that I got for my birthday that are must-reads for me. Okay, I've been waiting all year to read this one, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I absolutely loved The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry, which she wrote, and I've heard so many people rave about this book. So come December, this is going to be the first book on my list. I also got The Firekeeper's Daughter for my birthday. These are all kind of big. Those two would have, actually all three of these that I've got would have qualified for Big Book Summer. So we'll see, but really want to get to this in December. Again, because I've heard so many rave reviews. I've been meaning to read it, so now I have my own copy. And finally, Trust by Hernan Diaz. This book won the Pulitzer Prize last year. And before he became famous, I met the author at Booktopia last May. The book had just been released, so I hadn't read it yet. And I didn't know it was going to be such a big hit. So I also asked my husband for this for my birthday, and very much looking forward to reading it because I've heard so many great things about it. So those are 5 books I'd like to read before the end of the year. Question 4, is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Well, I do have very high hopes for Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. However, my favorite book of the year so far, since January, was one of the very first books I read this year, and that was Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, which I listened to on audio, took me the whole month of January, blew me away. Such an amazing book and so outstanding on audio. So I really don't think anything is going to dethrone that as my best book of the year. But if anything can, it would be Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. And question 5, have you already started making reading plans for next year? Not really. I have some very big books left over from my Big Book Summer Challenge this year that will probably end up in my stack for Big Book Summer 2024. That's a challenge that I host every summer. But generally, I don't plan that far ahead. Now, I do tend to read seasonally, as you can tell. December and January are usually open months for me. Read whatever you want, mood reading. I have loads of books on my shelf to choose from, and I'm hoping to get to plenty of those. February, because it's Black History Month, I often like to include something that fits that theme. And then once we get into March, we're getting into Booktopia season. That's that event that I attend every May in Vermont. Wonderful book weekend with readers and authors hanging out together, getting to know each other. So sometime around March, the booksellers at Northshire Bookstore, which hosts Booktopia, will announce their picks for Booktopia 2024. And so March, April, and into the beginning of May, I will be reading those. But I don't have any specific books chosen for next year yet. And finally, I'd like to tag 3 other booktubers. Now, my criteria for choosing these booktubers is that they are all channels that I have already subscribed to, so I know I enjoyed their content, but that I haven't been to in a while, probably just due to BookTube's algorithm. And I made sure they all have recent videos, so I know they're still active. So tagging them will give me a chance to go back and visit their channels again, and I hope you will visit as well. So I am tagging Book Addict 30, Sheila, Shannon's channel, and Melissa at Fully Booked. So I'll include those links down below. Please visit their channels. Oh, my other criteria for for choosing people to tag was that their channels all have under 500 subscribers. So please visit their channels, give them a little comment love, and let me know what your plans are for reading toward the end of the year. What books are on your must-read list to get to before the end of the year?